visiting Toastmasters, and guests. Tonight, we gather under the theme lifelong learning, a concept that is at the very heart of what we do at Toastmasters. Learning does not stop when we leave school or when we reach a certain milestone. It is a continuous journey that shapes us into better speakers, stronger leaders, and more well-rounded individuals. Every meeting, every speech, and every role we take on is an opportunity to sharpen our skills, to expand our knowledge, and to push further beyond what we thought possible. As we embark on tonight's session, let's embrace the mindset of lifelong learners. That is, being curious, open, and eager to grow. Because no matter where we are at in our journey, there's always more to discover, more to improve, and more to achieve. Let's make this meeting a space of learning, encouragement, and transformation. Welcome to Gaborone Toastmasters Club. As usual, tonight is no different. We have what we have termed our Toastmaster of the evening, or what we in Setswana say, Motsamaisa tiro. But tonight, because our guest is so special, in his home language, he says, Ke umphathi wohlelo. So our Toastmaster of the evening tonight is none other than Toastmaster Mzamo Mkhwanazi, who is visiting us live from Durban. He's a visiting Toastmaster from Umlazi Toastmasters Club. He has a well-rounded background in accounting, auditing, project management, business administration, and even corporate governance. With over a wealth of 26 years of experience in the field. And in his spare time, other than being a Toastmaster, he runs marathons. I mean, he has several under his belt, including several comrades marathons. And he's also a wedding MC. Please help me welcome our Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster Mzamo Mkhwanazi. Over to you.
Good evening, Madam President. Wow, what an introduction. I feel so honored. And I feel honored just the fact that I'm here with you at Gaborone Toastmasters, a club that is very close to my heart. I always learn a lot when I visit this club. And true to our theme tonight, lifelong learning. So for me, lifelong learning means every day you must learn something new. So today we have a list of great speakers who have prepared scrumptious, cooked, wonderful speeches for us. Therefore, I will not go off this meeting without learning several things. Therefore, today, ladies and gentlemen, it's gonna be a wonderful day. Well, without any further ado, as your Toastmaster of the day, I would really love for us to ensure that we use our emojis. And after each speaker, I would like you to unmute, celebrate, shout, scream, even use your, okay, scream to your highest voice, please. Well, I will not be steering this ship alone. A good captain is always surrounded by good cadets around him. Therefore, as a Toastmaster of the day, I have several role players that will be assisting me in running this meeting. Let me call first of all to the visual stage, my grammarian for the day. Well, if I do butcher your name and your surname, please blame it to Dumelo. She's the one that actually didn't give me the actual pronunciation of some of the surnames and names. Let me call to the virtual stage my grammarian for the day, Lillian and Andres. Please come forth and just explain to our fellow Toastmasters and honorable guests as to what is the role of a grammarian tonight.
Sorry, Mr. Toastmaster of the day, I don't seem to see Lillian on the call.
Okay. Maybe while we're waiting for Lillian, I will just move swiftly to other role players, and then later on we will get back to Lillian as soon as she joins. Maybe let's go to our timer of the evening. Maybe just the time of the evening, come to the virtual stage, Boipelo Tube, and just give us the role that you'll be playing tonight and why is it important.
Good evening. Boipelo is running late, so I will step in and be the timer until she arrives to the meeting. So I will just then advise in terms of the role. So as the timer, the role is to time the meeting and the speakers that will come onto the virtual stage. So for our speakers this evening, we have one icebreaker speech, which is 4 to 6 minutes. So when you reach the minimum speaking time, I'll share the green. Once that's 4 minutes, once you reach 5 minutes, I'll show the yellow. And once you reach 6 minutes, I'll show the red. And for our 5 to 7 minute speakers, when you reach the minimum, which is 5 minutes, I'll show the green. When you reach 6 minutes, I'll show yellow. And then when you reach the maximum, I will show the red. So the red is just an indication that you've got 30 seconds to wrap up. So please make sure that you do wrap up within those 30 seconds. And of course, for our evaluators this evening, when you reach, it's 2 to 3 minutes to give your evaluation. When you reach 2 minutes, I'll show the green. 2 minutes 30, yellow, and then 3 minutes, I'll show the red. Thank you, and back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, multi-talented Leah. And thank you very much for stepping in for Boipelo. As you know, that's the culture of Toastmasters. They say the Toastmaster wears many hats. So thank you very much for doing that. Over and above, we have what we call an counter. Maybe let me call to the virtual stage Onkemetsi to give us the core reason why we have such a role within Toastmasters.
Greetings, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters and guests. The purpose of the counter is to note words that sounds that are used as crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks during the meeting. I will listen for overused words, including and, well, but, so, and you know. I will also listen for filler words, including I will also note when the speaker repeats a word or phrase, such as I, or this means at the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker used these expressions. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Sisi Oikemetsi. And then I'll move swiftly to my hack master, something that is almost unique to Gaborone Toastmasters. A lot of us, we do not do this particular role. For our hack master of the day, Matsediso, please come to the virtual stage and give us your role. What does it mean and what can we expect?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The Hackmaster role is all about active listening and how well we pay attention to the proceedings. So to gauge our listening skills, I will be asking questions at the end of the speeches. So I encourage all of us to listen attentively. Thank you.
Thank you very much. When I butcher your name or surname, please feel free when you take the podium to give me the exact pronunciation. That I will really appreciate. I will be learning. Thank you. Who have I not called to the virtual stage? Our general evaluator, Lamim Tetwa. Please come forward and give us your role and what is it that you're expecting from us, or should we expect from you?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Good evening to our esteemed guests. My name is Lamim Teta, and I'll be your general evaluator for this meeting. My role as a general evaluator is to conduct the evaluation part of this meeting. I have a team that will assist me in giving feedback to our speakers. I will as well give an evaluation of the entire meeting at the end of the meeting. Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Ms. Twetwa. Well, without any further ado, can I call for the toast of the day? If I can bring to the virtual stage Leia again, my timer, my Zoom master, and also my toast star for this evening. Leah.
Indeed, a Toastmaster wears many hats. Thank you so much for that. So, as for giving the toast of the day, I'd like to encourage you, if you have some drink, some water, if you can get it ready, as I will be sharing the toast of the day. So our theme for today is lifelong learning. And there's this quote that says, "The capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. The willingness to learn is a choice," by Brian Herbert. And for me, definitely, if there's one thing I've learned so far, especially in my Toastmasters journey, is just that willingness to continue learning. When I joined Toastmasters, the only thing I wanted to do was to work on my nerves, because I used to get really scared when I had to stand in front of people and speak, to the point where I could feel my legs shaking. And all I wanted to do was just to get maybe, I don't know if I would say get rid, or just lessen that feeling whenever I had to stand in front of people. And lo and behold, I discovered that there's so much more about this environment. There's the leadership aspect to it. I eventually went into that, became the vice president of public relations, and I had no idea how to create a poster. I used to do it in PowerPoint. I've now progressed to Canva. And that is that continuous learning that you are working on. Before, I never thought I could even create a little video or anything like that, but I was able to learn. So watched some YouTube videos, and there some more learnings that continue happening. And I would just like to encourage you all. Normally, when we start off the year, we have goals or dreams or things that we want to achieve, and there might be some setbacks that happen. But even in those setbacks that happen, we should never forget that we should continue to pursue what we want to do and continue to learn, because I think the minute you stop learning, you're probably going to die. So I'd just like to then raise a toast to lifelong learning. So to lifelong learning, you can unmute and all to talk with me. To lifelong learning.
To lifelong
Lifelong
learning.
Yes, may we continue indeed to pursue lifelong learning. Thank you, and back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day.
You're drinking water with bubbles, girl, and your smile and your energy. Yeah. Are you sure that we are drinking coffee?
It's juice.
Juice, red grapes. Okay. Take it as a liquid fruit, not that we're selling a product. Is my grammarian logged on already? Or How do I pursue? How do we move forward?
I still don't see the grammarian on the call, so maybe you can just get someone to volunteer.
I'll
to
take
be
up
on the-
grammarian.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam President / grammarian / evaluator. If you can please give us the role, what the grammarian do within the Toastmaster space.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the evening. As grammarian, I'll be taking note of the use of the English language. So that is both the proper use and the improper use. And I'll deliver a report towards the end. I'll also introduce the word of the day. Our word of the day is erudite. Erudite, this is a first for me. But erudite means, one moment. Erudite means showing great knowledge or learning. An example is, Ken could turn any conversation into a erudite discussion. So I encourage you to use the word of the day, erudite. I'll also share it in the chat at the end, along with my report on the proper use of the English language. I'll also deliver a report on how we used this word. Thank you, and back to you.
Oh, erudite. Oh, my word. I think you were better off without a grammarian, ladies and gentlemen. But what can we do? What can we say? Madam President has said it. We are encouraged to use the word of the day. Whenever you get an opportunity to speak, kindly try by all means to use the word of the day. True to Leah's point, John Hesse said, the minute that you are not learning, I believe you are dead. It's a speakathon, ladies and gentlemen, so let's get to it. Our prepared speeches for tonight. Maybe let me just call the first evaluator for our first speaker. Oh, we got an icebreaker tonight. We love icebreakers at Toastmasters. That keeps us going. Well, let me call Tumelo, who will introduce our first speaker, Indila, to give us the gist of her speech. Thank you, Tumelo. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening. Tonight, I have the pleasure of evaluating Indila Nepela. Indila is a visiting Toastmaster from Namibia. She's from the club Tarantal Toastmasters, and this is her first ever speech at Toastmasters, which is a big deal to us because this is the speech where she gets to introduce herself to the club, being us. We're privileged to witness this today, and just follow or attempt to follow the basic structure of a speech. We're not so hard on you for this first time because we know how hard it can be, and we hope that it becomes easier in future. We look forward to hearing from you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day, to introduce our speaker.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's gather and welcome our speaker for tonight, Indila. The $100 note. $100 note, Indila. Take it away, Sisi.
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Today, I would like to take you back to a pivotal moment in my life. A moment filled with hope, uncertainty, and a lesson which has stuck with me to this day. When I was 14 years old, I went off to boarding school for the first time. And my mom gave me a $100 note, which to me didn't seem, no, rather, it seemed like a lot of money because I have never received money of that magnitude before. So with the $100 note folded in the palm of my hand, it felt like I had money that was substantial for the first time. A golden ticket to finally buying the food I want and not what my parents think I need. And so I spent the previous year planning my budget, calculating the food I needed and their approximate prices. So I was not up for any surprises when I go for the shops. As I went through the bustling shop, I noticed other kids who are eager and look lost like I was. They shuffled around looking at shelves filled with snacks and treats. They looked like they were not sure about what to choose, but not me though, because I was driven, I was focused, and with my list in my hand, I knew exactly what I needed. So within 20 minutes, I was done. I had gathered everything, cereal, fruit, and a few treats for the good measures. But as I waited in the line to the teller, my confidence started to waver. In front of me stood a girl, and her cart overflowed with goodies, exotic treats, fancy boxes, literally everything under the sun. And when I looked down at my cart, it didn't have goods that would, my goods didn't even go halfway of the cart. So then questions started to swirl in my mind. Do I have enough? And how much money did her parents give her? And in that very moment, something shocking happened. She turned back to me and greeted me, and I responded hesitantly and showed how I didn't think I had enough. But she laughed it off and rather said, there is never enough food when it comes to boarding school. They share the food with each other because they know that not everyone gets the opportunity to get a lot of money and buy enough food. In that moment, something clicked. I remembered that my worth is not based on the quantity of food I have, but rather the connections I'm going to make when I go to work. Ladies and gentlemen, that day in the shop, I learned that life isn't about what you have, but rather who you are and the connections you make. So on this platform, I am looking forward to connecting with you and helping each other on our public system. Thank you so much.
Indila, please unmute. Oh, wow. Okay. Can get big hands, a round of applause for Indila's speech, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. And Tumelo said that this was your first speech ever. So, wow. Wow, I wish I could speak like that on my first, wow, on my first Toastmasters meeting. It was a disaster. I'm just happy that it was not recorded. Let's move swiftly to our second speaker of the day. Maybe let me call him Paul Kabelo on the virtual stage so that he can, to introduce our second speaker. Thank you very much. Paul?
It seems Paul got kicked off the call. He's having network issues.
It's fine. What we will do, we'll have a collective evaluation so we can all give, let us all listen attentively. I'll give three people to evaluate Asapile's speech. All right, so writing a speech with purpose, that's the, okay. Asapili's speech is presentation mastery level 1. Project number 2, writing a speech with purpose. And the speech is titled Monsters Inside Me. Monsters Inside Me, Asapili Banda. Take it away.
Thank you. Actually, the name is Asa Lebele. Or you could just say Asa. You could just say Asa.
Asa.
Yeah,
Take it
works.
away, Asa.
All right. Thank you, Toastmasters. In 2022, I joined a particular organization. When I got there, I was told of a certain gentleman that was difficult to work with. I was briefed that I shouldn't expect anything of him, and that he is just a very difficult person. I quickly understood why everybody said that. Half the time he was on sick leave, he wasn't well. And when he was around, he was just a strange man. He lived in his own little world, and it was quite uncomfortable to be around him. I don't know if he knew how uncomfortable it was for everybody, or it was just on my end, but it was quite difficult to deal with him. And HR did not know what to do with him, and they basically did not even want to address the situation. Because if he was not on sick leave, he's not cooperating and he's just being strange. Half the time, if he was at work, he would rather be somewhere else. So it was hard to get him to do any work. I found out that this had been happening for years, but there was no resolution to the issue. Until one day, his doctor referred him to a private hospital in Gaborone. He went, they did a CT scan, and they found that he had worms in his brain. So he actually wasn't acting. He was actually sick and in pain all those years. I hope he's fine where he is. I mean, last time I saw him was in 2022, and it's quite, the disease is quite treatable. I mean, it's a shame he got help years later, but at least he did get help. He did get the help that he needed. Now, with show of hands, can you raise your hand if you eat meat on a regular? Can you just raise your hand if you eat meat on a regular? Do you eat pork? Oh, we have people that eat pork. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a story about pork meat. So, if pork meat is infested with this disease I'm talking about, which is tapeworm, what happens is that you and I would eat pork, right? If it's not properly cooked, say you go to a restaurant and you buy medium rare, or you're at a braai and it's not thoroughly cooked, you eat it, what's going to happen is that the infected meat is going to go to your stomach and you're going to get worms, sometimes as long as 5 meters. And you're going to lay eggs when you go to the bathroom. And if you don't wash your hands properly, if you're going to prepare food for the family, you are going to give them worms. So the law says that every meat that you find in a supermarket or every meat that's actually for sale should be tested by a veterinary meat inspector. So the assumption is, if you're going to go to Choppers or go to a restaurant, you are eating safe meat. That's the assumption because the law says that's what's supposed to happen. But if your cousin kills pork under the tree and he makes braai or there's a wedding celebration, we are not sure if you are safe. And in rural areas where people use pit latrine and they go to the toilet outside, it means if you have tapeworm, you go to the toilet in the environment, and if pigs are roaming and grazing for feed, they pick the eggs. And that's how the cycle continues. So ladies and gentlemen, I want you to have an awareness that, of course, meat is good, it's protein, we all need protein, but we need to educate ourselves and make sure we are protected. Yes, the law says all the meat has to be tested by a veterinary inspector, but that doesn't always happen in our case, right? We have weddings, we have funerals. The meat is not from a butchery. The meat is not for sale. So the law does not bind whoever is hosting to actually enforce that a veterinary meat inspector checks your meat. So let's become erudite and be aware and protect yourselves. Thank you.
I'm 100% sure that no one will clap for your speech because they all had their hands up when you asked who's eating meat and who's eating pork. Wow, Asa. Wow. I just stated something on the chat there to say I'm so traumatized right now. I'm not gonna be eating any boerewors or any meat, and I love pork. As we said, it's a lifelong learning. If you don't learn anything tonight, well, consider yourself dead. Thank you very much, Asa, for such a wonderful lesson for this evening. And you said it's speech with a purpose. Wow. Let's move to our third speaker. Maybe let me call Leah back on the virtual stage to give us an introduction of our next speech and also the purpose of this particular speech. Take it away, Sisi.
Thank you so much. So our next speaker will be also presenting a speech with a purpose, which is a level 1 speech. The second speech, as stated, the objective is for our speaker, Halaletsang, to share a speech which has a purpose. And I would just like to invite Halaletsang to please switch on her video so she can be spotlighted. Okay, there we go.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Halaletsang with a speech titled The Path to Greatness. The Path to Greatness, Halaletsang. Take it away.
Okay, thank you. And good evening, my fellow Toastmasters. The name is Halaletsang Mutusi, and I will be giving a speech on the path to greatness. The path to greatness is paved with passion, resilience, and persistence. have you ever heard of our time? He is a gold Olympic medalist and world recorder of 100 meters, 200 meters, and 4x4 relay. Usain Bolt trained for 4 years. In some articles, they say he trained for 20 years in order to run a race. This then tells us that in order for one to become great, one needs and consistent actions every day. I, for one, I have a story to tell. I was once a D student, and every month, what used to happen during my junior secondary school years was that the school board, they published the top 20
Khalaletsang,
students.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Khalaletsang, I think we're
Yes.
struggling with your bandwidth. Can you hear me? Please
Yes, I
continue.
can hear
we can hear, I could hear her.
You could hear her?
Yes.
Okay, I thought that it was, okay. Please, apologies for disturbing. I thought that it was a universal problem.
Okay.
Please continue, Sisi.
All right. There's another one saying they can't hear me, so I should just continue, right?
Hello?
Yes, you can continue. I can hear you.
All right. Okay, so I have a story to tell.
You can continue, Khalaletsang.
Okay. I, for one, I have a story to tell. I was once a D student. And every year during my junior secondary school years, they used to publish the top 20 students. And when I saw this,
sorry. Oh, apologies, Sisi. Khalaletsang. Sorry. Unfortunately, we cannot hear you. I believe that lots of us are struggling to hear you. We could only hear up to Usain Bolt's record. Can hear
Leah,
her.
should I change?
On my
Maybe I
side,
should
she's
move
muted.
from-
I think the evaluator, if the evaluator can express whether they can hear or not.
She can hear. Okay, it's fine.
Okay, so should I continue?
Yes, continue.
Okay. All right. Apologies for that. So I, for one, I have a story to tell. I was once a D student. And every year during my junior secondary school years, the school board used to publish the top 20 students. And when I saw this, I purposed in my heart and my mind that I will become one of the top 20 students in my school. And along the way, what I did was to look within and also look at my surroundings in order to become the top 20 student. I made sure that I dedicate 2 to 3 hours daily to study. I also made sure that I requested my parents to pay for a tuition and participated fully during classes. And in a space of 3 months, I was one of the top 20 students. And this was great for me as well as my family members. The path to greatness is paved with willingness to take small and consistent steps. Along the journey, there will be failures and mistakes made. But one should take courage to ensure that they act or to ensure that they learn from the mistakes they make along the way. The path to greatness, or in order to achieve greatness, one also needs to know that this will not be a solo journey. There are people that one will bring along the journey. It's not only about personal achievements, personal victories, or self-made success, but it's about the people surrounding us that will help us to achieve greatness. For all we know, some of the greatest leaders that we know, they had mentors, the innovators, they had a team, or if we look at the champions, they had supporters. This then shows us that in order to achieve greatness, one needs a little bit of encouragement. They need a little bit of a cheer up here and there, and wisdom from the people besides us. So in conclusion, I would like to say that one needs a vision to see, the faith to know that they can, and the courage to act on their convictions to become what God meant for them to be. I'm done.
Wow. You know why? People at Gaborone are jealous. I can't even hear anyone saying something. Wow. Yes, there's the spirit right there. Thank you very much, Halaletsang. Wow. In order to reach your greatness, you need to embrace lifelong learning, ladies and gentlemen. She just put it out there for us to grab and learn from what she just said. What a speech. Thank you very much, Sisi. That bandwidth really need, like, was this close in ruining our day. Thank you for sharing. Our fourth speaker will be evaluated, or the speech will be evaluated by, you will, I apologize, maybe you can, is it Kachel? Or please come to the virtual stage and give us the purpose of this particular speech.
It's Cage, Nzamo.
It's
Cage.
Cage.
With a K,
Wow.
yes. Cage with
All
a
right.
K.
Cage with a K.
Yes.
Well, we learn every day. Apologies for butchering the name. Welcome on the stage, Cage with a K.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mzamo Mkwanazi. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, allow me to share with you the purpose statement of Toastmaster Tapiwa Motsweneng's speech. She will give, it's an evaluation form, it's evaluation and feedback. I apologize, this is not the one. Hers is a speaking to use vocal variety as well as using your body. And I'm going to open that right now quickly. And in a nutshell, basically what we are looking out for and what this challenge is, before I read out a purpose statement, is we are expecting to see exaggerated movements of her body, her speaking with her body, as well as us, we should be able to hear her using vocal variety, going low, going high. I will be then able to read out her purpose statement once I get it. But essentially, ladies and gentlemen, that is what we are looking for. Exaggerated body language, body movement, because her body speaks, as well as exaggerated vocal variety. Over to you, Toastmaster.
I suspect Kate is a radio DJ. Wow. All right, let's move swiftly. Is this first flight? First flight Tapiwa Motswaneng with speech titled First Flight.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the evening. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Air Botswana flight BP201 from Gaborone, Airport to OR Tambo, Johannesburg, South Africa. Thank you for flying with us. We wish you a pleasant flight. Stays the beautiful, well-dressed, stunning flight attendant. Does this ring a bell to you? To me, it does. It was in 2012, September 11, when I was flying away from Gaborone, going to Bradford in the university for studies. It was my first time flight. Yes, it was first time for me to fly away. I was excited, happy, curious, because I was going to fly in the sky. And I was going to be in England for the first time in my life. Ladies and gentlemen, my aha moments for my first flight was I didn't fly on an empty stomach. I had snacks, built-in, water, and other variety food in the British Airways. Another aha moment. It took me 11 hours to fly from Johannesburg or Tambo to Heathrow International Airport in London. Imagine 11 straight hours. I was exhausted. But nevertheless, I was excited. Remember, it was my first flight and I was going to be in England. So that exhaustion didn't work for me. I was irritated of first time flying. Here is a few takeaway moments. And my takeaway for those who haven't flown yet, or the one that rings a bell to me every time I fly. I have to have my passport ready and should be valid. Have my confirmed flight ticket. It can be printed or e-ticket. I need to know the allowed and tolerated baggage. That's for my check-in or my carry-on luggage. And lastly, I should always remember to arrive 3 hours prior to my departure time, or else you might miss the flight. And that's not a good thing, to miss a flight. Ladies and gentlemen, do you remember your first flight moment? Did you enjoy your first flight moment? For me, I was very excited. The only thing that troubled my mind, that made me so sad, was being away from my beloved family for the first time, with miles apart, oceans apart. That made me so sad. It was very sad to part with my family for 4 full years. It was my first flight going to England, so I was thrilled and excited. Charles A. Lindbergh said, sometimes flying feels too goodly like to be attained by a man like me and you. And sometimes this word far above, too wonderful, too beautiful, too distant for eyes to see. I have seen it and I've enjoyed it. And from that first flight, I have developed and find myself to be that girl who enjoys the window seat, not the aisle seat. In a nutshell, my first flight was so amazing. Thank you very much.
Woo hoo!
Woo, 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 woo.
Thank you very much, Tapio. Although you're taking me back to my first flight, which was a nightmare. Not only was I scared, but I was actually stopped by the police officials who requested to search my luggage and questioned me for a few minutes. But we are not there. I'll tell you, that's a story for another day. Invite me, I will tell you. I'll make it a 5-minute speech. Well, our last but not least speech for tonight will be evaluated by Lame Tetwa. Lame Tetwa, please take a podium. Let us know what is the purpose of this particular speech.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mzamo. Good evening, fellow Toastmaster and guests. Once more, this evening I have the privilege of evaluating Benjamin Mahodielo, who is pursuing his presentation mastery level 1 project, and he is doing project 4. The title of the project is evaluation and feedback, which means he gave a first speech, got evaluation, and he's expected to apply the evaluation on this second speech. So that's what I will be looking out for in his speech. The speech of his title is PMBOK, Core Knowledge Areas. Over to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Wow, thank you very much. We celebrate the fact that you're not wearing a hat today. I think last time I visited here, you were wearing a cortez, but it's okay. Thank you. It's nice to see the full facial for Lame. Ladies and gentlemen, without any waste of time, let's welcome Benjamin. Benjamin, speech titled for PMBOK, Core Knowledge Areas. Guys, you're gonna learn and you must bring your pens and write something down for PMBOK, Core Knowledge Areas. Benjamin.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Good evening, Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and visiting guests. Today I'll be discussing with you the 4 PMBOK, that is Project Management Body of Knowledge, Core Knowledge Areas. But before I go there, those are the 4 core, but we have another 6, that is procurement risk, communications, human resource and stakeholder management and integration. Those are the other 6, but today, for the purpose of today, we'll discuss the 4 being time, budget, scope, and quality. But before I do that, let me just let you know why we're discussing this is because at some point or in our lives, we managed a few projects. Our club officers this past weekend managed the hackathon with Gaborone Toastmasters Club, Gaborone Breakfast Club. And according to me, the project went well. It was held on time. There was no postponement. But one thing I would judge it for was a little bit more crowd would have helped. But before I dwell into the 4 core areas, let me take you through my project management journey. Back in this one, I was at varsity. My first love was programming. I loved programming. I excelled at programming. In project management, during my second year was my second love. I love project management. However, lo and behold, I couldn't get any job in programming. So in around 2012, I got a job as an intern project manager. I did the work, I did the project, I loved it. And I excelled at it. I did a few projects. I can take you through a few of them. The first project was the development websites. The programming was done offshore, and we developed the websites. We were in contact between the developers and the client. The other project I remember very well was we did the Oman server migration. The other project that we did was the Oman Oracle migration. They were finished. We might finish late, but it was roughly on time. The other project was the school project for laptops. We provided laptops to schools, so I was involved in the project. And then now to discuss the PMBOK, the project management body of knowledge core areas. The time is very important. Imagine even to do a project that's supposed to finish in 2010, it finishes in 2012. It would have lost the time that was required or even unnecessary. The other was the budget. To avoid being over budget, you have to plan your project nicely so that it's on budget. The other one is the scope. So to avoid the project being scope, you have to manage the scope of the project so that it doesn't, there are no additional things that are added into the project as the project goes on. That actually
Benjamin, I just wrote on the comment there that the minute I saw PM BOK on the screen, I knew that we are going straight for professorship type of learning tonight, and you did not disappoint. Wow. Well, next time we'll give you about 30 minutes because you cannot sum this particular core knowledge areas in 5 minutes, but well done. Ladies and gentlemen, as you saw, we were informed earlier on that our sixth speaker did not make it tonight. Therefore, we're just gonna jump straight to voting for the best speech or for the best speaker. Maybe Mr. Zoom Master, if you can share the poll if it's ready.
The
And
poll
then we
has
can
been
vote.
launched. Yes, it has been launched. It's on the screen.
It's on the screen, yes. The best effort speaker. I'm giving you 1 minute to vote. 1 minute is too much. 30 seconds. Asa said we must not, it's me, I'm not voting for Asa. Oh, sorry. I thought my audio was muted. Sorry, Asa, no offense. Okay. I hope we all voted. In 10, yes.
We are at 57%, but maybe we can continue with the program.
57%. Okay, let's go ahead and continue with the program. So my employer just instructed me. But I'm getting paid for this, if you didn't know. I'm joking. Well, can I get the timekeeper's report for our prepared speeches? Boipilo, I hope you were paying attention.
I actually took the times, so I'll
Oh,
share
it's
them.
you. Hey, it's you. It's you,
No
Zoom
worries.
Master, Sergeant at Arms, evaluator with the glass head, with the bubbles in your cup, hence the energy. Go ahead.
So the times for our speakers, our first speaker was supposed to speak for 4 to 6 minutes. So that's in Ndila. She spoke for 4 minutes, 23 seconds. Then the rest of our speakers were all supposed to speak between 5 to 7 minutes. So Asa spoke for 6 minutes, 29 seconds. Kalaletang spoke for 7 minutes, 15 seconds. So she was within time. From once you reach 7, you've got 30 minutes to wrap up. Tapiwa spoke for 6 minutes, 25 seconds, and Benjamin spoke for 5 minutes, 5 seconds. Thank you, and back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day.
Can you please remind us what's the word of the day again?
Erudite.
The reason why I'm requesting you to repeat it is because I can't even pronounce it. It sounds like a relic
okay,
from
baby?
the past.
Let me see, okay?
Let's move swiftly. Do we still have our Hackmaster in the house? Please, to test your attentiveness, can I have the Hackmaster taking over the podium and asking
Sorry,
all?
We have a bit of time. We can have our table topics before we go to the Hackmaster. I'll do the table topics.
Oh, boo. Okay, you're the president. You can do whatever you like. It's your stage. Like
Yes,
you're
my
flexing right
apologies.
now.
My
Okay, you
apologies.
go
Thank
ahead,
you.
man.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening. We have a bit of time since one of our speakers fell off the program. So I'd like a few volunteers to take up our table topics. If you're not aware, table topics is where we practice our impromptu speaking or speaking off the cuff or speaking unprepared. Is there anyone who'd like to take the challenge and speak for 1 to 2 minutes? So our timer will time you. I see our guest, Dan, are you a guest or a visiting Toastmaster from another club? Please unmute and come to the virtual stage.
Thank you. When you say from another club, it sounds like a brother from another mother. Yes,
Yes.
I am from another club, L'Avenir and Speech Quest. dual member.
Okay. Lovely to meet you, Dan. Dan, pick a number between 1 and 5.
4.
4.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll read out the question, after which you can start speaking for 1 to 2 minutes. If you could take a class from any historiological figure, who would it be and what would you learn? If you could take a class from any historiological figure, who would it be and what would you learn? Over to you.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. There's one thing I wish I learned a lot more was African history. I think I probably missed on that. We easily speak about Plato and we speak about Greek history. We talk about Julius Caesar and Louis the 14th. I mean, we can name them, right? But I wish we were a lot more about our own kings and queens. And so there was in one of the Toastmasters meeting, I've got a member that's from Ghana. She was telling us about the Mother Queen. She's telling us about the kingdoms in Ghana. And I was very curious to see what it was like, because today we talk about women empowerment, but I wonder why in Africa did we lose that connection we've had with our queens and grandmothers. So there's so many kingdoms or queendoms that had a mixed. I mean, you could have a king, you could have a queen, you could have a prince, and it worked. Our history was so rich, and then somehow we lost that touch with that. So I'm curious to be at that time and revisit what made us great, what made our societies work, queens, our kings, and write that history and get our children and grandchildren to reconnect with that. Yes, thank you for asking, because now my duty would be to go and find out whether it's Wikipedia or Google or you name it, and let's find out about the continent is big. Let's find about our own history and our own past. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Dan, and wonderful submission to our table topic. And as grammarian, I stand corrected. The word is the historical, not historiological. Ay. English is not my mother. But any other takers for the table topics? There's a lot of people on the call. I'd like
There's
to
someone
give
in the chat. King
Yes.
King said, "I volunteer."
Yes, King, please unmute yourself. King Siska, unmute yourself and choose a number from 1 to 5 except for 4.
Good day, everyone.
Good day, King.
I'd pick the number 3.
Number 3 reads, do you believe that experience is the best teacher, or do formal lessons matter just as much? Why? Do you believe that experience is the best teacher, or do formal lessons matter just as much? Why?
I believe experience is the best. Why? Because, if you don't go through something, you can never go through the feelings. I think what's most important is going through the feeling of something. For example, if you're doing a certain type of job, and then obviously you're taught, for in this type of position, this is what we need and this is what we expect you to do. So if you don't have that experience already, it's gonna be hard for you to do the tasks that are needed. So which is why I say experience, that it counts mostly than learning and going through something. So yeah.
Thank you so much, King Siska. And that's true. And I guess a lot of people can agree with us, but some would also argue that formal learning counts just as much, because with table topics, there's no right or wrong answer, right? So any other takers? Any volunteers? At least one other volunteer. I wanted to pick on a guest, but they left. Ndio, would you like to take up the challenge? Hi, Ndio. Are you there? Okay, next I'm picking a member. Hi.
Hello.
Yes, would you like to challenge yourself, Ndio?
No, my first time. So I
Okay.
just want to sit in and listen.
Okay, I'm picking on one of our members next. Lebogang Ramutibe, please take a table topic. Hi, Lebu. Today's your lucky day.
I'll take one.
Okay. Who's
Number
that?
2.
Wow, Mzamo. Okay, overachiever.
Number
Number
2.
2. Yes, number 2 reads, share a time when learning something new changed your perspective or improved your life. Share a time when learning something new changed your perspective or improved your life.
I was joking, Madam Table Topics. You can move to the next person.
It's too late.
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, I thought that I was being ambushed, Madam Table Topics Master. And I was given a task at work that seemed to be overwhelming and which was outside my comfort zone and outside my body of knowledge. But anyhow, I decided that I was going to take the challenge and I was going to shine. As you might have heard, my background is mainly in corporate governance, but right now I'm seated comfortably in the logistics and operational space. I decided to take the challenge and go out and learn as much as I can about the role. It was an acting role just for a few months, just for 3 months, and then they said 8 months and then a year. And then later on, I received a letter to say, move to this section. And for me, that was a learning curve to say, as much as it was overwhelming, seemed impossible, but given an opportunity to learn as much with the role, it changed the perspective of how I was looking in that particular area of work. But right now, I've changed 360 degrees at my age. So thank you, Madam Table Topics. Oh, yes. Big hands to me.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the evening. Timer, do we have time for just one more before we continue?
No. You're abusing the stage, Madam President. Timer,
Okay.
can you please give us times for our table topics, please? Hey, I'm so fired. You can't speak
All
like that
right.
to the
So
president.
the times for our speakers for table topics so far, we had our first speaker, Dan, spoke for 2 minutes, 10 seconds. Our second speaker, King, spoke for 56 seconds. And our third speaker, Nzamo, spoke for 1 minute, 40 seconds.
Thank you
and
very
welcome.
much. Thank you very much. Let me just call the Hackmaster to the podium. And Hackmaster was hacked by the president earlier on. And then now, can you kindly come forward, Matsediso, and give us, take it away, Sissy.
Okay, Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. Guests, we can unmute ourselves so that we answer the questions that I'll be posing to you right now. Yes. What was Benjamin Mahodielo's speech title?
4 p.m. Bok.
Okay.
Core.
4 knowledge areas.
Okay, what were they? Can you name the 4 core knowledge areas?
Scope,
What?
time, quality, and budget.
Time, budget, scope, and cost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What was Tapiwa Motsoeneng's speech title?
First time on the
Best
flight.
flights.
Okay. When did she leave for England? The date?
2012.
The whole date?
11 September.
Oh, thank you. What emotions did she experience?
Mixed
Sadness.
emotions.
Yeah.
Mixed emotions.
What was her 2 aha moments?
Next, built her on the plane.
How many hours did it take her to arrive?
11.
Okay. At what airport did she land?
Heathrow.
Heathrow.
Okay. And which seat does she enjoy on the flight these days?
The window.
Next to the
In the
window.
clouds.
Thank
In the
you.
clouds.
Okay. What was Indila's title? Speech title?
$100. Catching.
Notes.
At what age did she go for boarding?
14.
15.
14.
15.
Is it 14 or 15?
14.
Oh, okay. What did Khalaletsang say about the path to greatness? Anything that you remember?
Paved with
You-
passion.
This supports.
You need the vision to see.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How long did it take her to move from being a D student to top 20?
3 months.
3 months.
Okay. And Asalepile Banda, what was the title of her speech?
Don't eat meat, pork.
Monsters inside.
Monsters inside. Oh, worms.
Okay. When did she join a particular organization?
We don't know. We were concentrating on the fact that we shouldn't eat pork.
2022.
2022.
2022.
Okay. And what was she briefed on about?
The gentleman that is
Yeah.
the gentleman that was
Yes,
cold
okay.
and dull.
Okay. And
Ate
what
too
did
much
this?
pork.
Yes. What did the CT scans show on the gentleman's brain?
Worms.
The type of worms.
Okay. And what disease is associated with eating pork?
Worms in the brain.
Worms.
Tapeworms.
Tapeworms.
Okay. I think that's all I had for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wow. Oh, I love this segment. Heck, master. Maybe is it hack or heck?
Hack.
Hack.
Yes.
Sounds like a Chinese movie. Hack. Master. Kill you. You killed my brother 20 years ago. Now I'll kill you. Let's move swiftly to our general evaluator. Let me please take
Sorry, let me just
Yes.
launch the poll for the table topics.
Launch
Since
what?
the poll
For what?
for table
That
topics.
was an official table topics. Okay, it's fine.
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I see you. I'm pushing me.
All right, I'm launching the poll. You should see
All
something
right.
on the screen.
Oh, can one vote for self?
Yourself. Yes.
Yeah. Done. Zamo, best speaker. Right
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
How many
Then
percent are we right now?
at 42, but the general evaluator can take
And
over.
how am I doing right now? Maybe if I'm
You'll
still
find
at the
out at
top.
the end.
Okay,
You
cool. Can I move to the general evaluator, please?
Yeah.
Yes, Lame, please come take over this meeting. I've been ambushed a number of times. Let's just hope that they will respect your portfolio as our general evaluator for tonight. Take it away. And I think this is the end of my segment, if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mzamo. As I mentioned earlier, that I'll be conducting the evaluation segment of today's meeting, and I will start by calling on our role players to give their feedback. I'll call the grammarian to give her report. I understand it's Madam President. Madam President, please give your grammarian report.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Tonight, as grammarian, I picked up on a few interesting uses of the English language, but I do apologize that some speakers I could not hear clearly, so I might have missed something. But the word of the day was Eurodite, and I only counted one person who used it intentionally, which was Asa. Leah and our Toastmaster of the day just mentioned it, so they don't count. And then I mentioned some interesting statements, or I noted some interesting statements from Indila, who played with the English language and said her confidence started to waver, which is an interesting use because we don't quite associate the two, but it is a great way to show the understanding of the English language. She also used a term that is popular these days, which is everything under the sun, just to show how so many things exist. I also noted the incorrect use of the English language. I noted that Tapua said, those who haven't flied yet. The word is flown. So instead of saying flied yet, flied, the past participle of fly is flown, spelled F-L-O-W-N. I also noted some very wrong use by our own grammarian who said historiological instead of historical. Ooh, learning moment. And I also noted some Setswana use into the English word, the English language, which is what we used to call Tsanglish, or just mixing Setswana and English during our table topics. One of our speakers said Hore and Tota. These are Setswana speech fillers, but that's about it. Otherwise, I give everyone props for using the English language very well. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tumelo, for making us aware of Tsanglish. I think that will be a word of the day in our next meeting, Tsanglish. Please take note of that, Leah, Tsanglish, and put it in the agenda. Thank you once more, Toastmaster Tumelo, for that feedback, that report. I believe that also calls for an encouragement for all of us that next time we incorporate the word of the day in our speeches, I'll be calling on to the virtual stage, the R and the arm counter, to also give the report. R and arm counter.
Good evening. I'm already saying this is my first time, so I hope I have counted properly. I was listening to the
counterlog. For Indila, she had one word that she used, but she used but once in a way that was not supposed to be used. And then she had two incidents where she had a bit of laughing sounds that were coming at a time that was not supposed to be happening. Asale Pele had one R, 3 arms, and 2 repetitive words, as well as 4 souls, which was using soul as a word that was joining sentences. And then we had a lot of ends, and was used a lot in the speech 7 times. And then Halaletsang had 2 R's during the introduction, and then she had 1 soul, and then she had 8 ends. I think most of us use end a lot as a comma, what I have noticed. And then Tapiwa had 1 soul, 6 ends. She used end 6 times in her speeches. Then we move on to Benjamin. He had 2 R's, 2 R's, ER, and 3 soul. He had a lot of buts in his sentences. And then he repeated sentences like he would start a sentence and then he would repeat it again. He had 2 ends. That is it. I'm not sure if I said it correctly. Thank you.
Well done, Toastmaster Unkemete, for taking up this role for the very first time. And we really appreciate that you even took notice of a speaker laughing. Most of the time we only pick those filler words and miss certain sounds that we tend to make as speakers because we are anxious or we are nervous. Well done. I won't be calling on our timekeeper as he has to time the evaluators, so I'll call it to the virtual stage once all the evaluators have given their feedbacks. And starting with our evaluators, Madam Toastmaster, Madam President, Madam Evaluator, Madam Grammarian, Madam Table Topics Master, who is now wearing the hat of an evaluator. Oh, I suspect you're going to have a headache from here. You wore so many heavy hats for this evening. Please take the virtual floor and give your feedback.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. It is indeed a pleasure to serve. Tonight, I had the pleasure of evaluating Indila Nepela, who gave her very first speech as a Toastmaster. Indila gave the speech titled The $100 Note. And indeed, she had a great opening. And all I could think was, is this really her first speech at Toastmasters? Well, for the purpose of her improvement and feedback, my evaluation will take a simple 3 steps or 3 parts. That is 3 things she did well, 2 things she may want to work on, and 1 way to challenge herself. First and foremost, the 3 things she did well: she was clear, she was confident, she gave us eye contact, and indeed we thought this is one experienced Toastmaster. She even told a story. Storytelling is one way that we bring our speeches to life. She brought us back to when she was a bright-eyed 14-year-old girl who was on her way to boarding school armed with the $100 note. She was she basically kept the basic structure of the speech. That is a great opening, a body, and however sudden a conclusion. The two things I think she may want to work on are to honor the speech purpose. The purpose of an icebreaker speech is for one to introduce themselves to the club, and we would have liked to hear who Indila is, or even heard a pronunciation of her name. And in that speech, she didn't mention her name. We waited to hear. She spoke a lot about how she views that her worth is not connected to what she has, but who she connects with. And she's excited to connect with some of us. But what of her story? We would have loved for her to keep or honor the purpose of that speech. And one other thing she may want to work on, this will sound like something experienced speakers should do, but I think she should adapt to unexpected things. Indila mentioned in the chat that it suddenly started raining where she is, which is why she came to an abrupt end. But still, there could have been a way to just try and wrap up the speech, although it had not gone according to plan. One way to challenge herself, I'd say, Indila, prepare. You can never be too prepared, especially when you start off. As you go on, you will get better at this, but you do have the opportunity to prepare so that whatever happens during your speech, you can satisfy its objectives. In summary, Indila, you are clear, you are confident, you gave a lovely speech where you added an element of storytelling and you stuck to the basic structure of a speech. Work on satisfying the purpose of a speech and adapting to anything that may happen during your speech. And one way to challenge yourself is to always be prepared. Congratulations once again on taking up this journey of Toastmasters, and we look forward to hearing more from you in future. Indila, thank you. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Timelo, for such a detailed feedback, such a detailed evaluation. Your evaluation was structured. You communicated that you will share what Indila did very well and what her learning points or her area of improvements are, which I feel is a very good way of giving feedback to not only benefit the speaker, but to also benefit our guests, for them to understand why we give feedback and why we give it the way we give it. Or I'll be calling on to our second evaluator, who was supposed to be Mpo, but Toastmaster of the evening decided to switch things around, and I will call him back to the virtual stage to facilitate that feedback. Toastmaster Nzamo, take us through.
I think you guys have been trained. You're trained in arts of ambushing. That's well, without any waste of time. Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator. If I was to give feedback to Asa, first of all, she's just a good storyteller. I was captured from the moment she started speaking. I was so curious to know what happened and why was this gentleman such a mean person or cold or someone that they gossiped about. You know, she has a very gentle voice, and her story was also she required that gentleness, and her hand gestures were on par with what she was actually delivering. I also felt that she did meet the speech purpose, which was a speech with purpose. I'm not sure whether you're going to move to another person, Madam General Evaluator, to give feedback as well.
I will excuse you for this one. We will carry on with the next evaluation. Thank you, Toastmaster Nzamo, for that evaluation. Once more, I would just like to highlight that you mentioned how Asa is a good storyteller, And you even shared the impact of storytelling when we're giving our speeches. I believe that is a very good point to bring across, not only to talk about storytelling, but you also mentioned the importance or the impact of storytelling. You also talked about hand gestures. I would have loved to hear how hand gestures impact our speeches, just for the benefits of our guests or the benefits of other Toastmasters. I also appreciate that you talked about purpose. We give, for all our speeches we give in Toastmasters, they have objectives, they have purpose. So we always need to be mindful and pay attention that we meet the purposes of our speech. Thank you once more, Toastmaster Nzama. I'll be calling onto the virtual stage Leah, Toastmaster Leah, to also give her feedback. Leah, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator. So I was evaluating Halaletang on her speech, The Path to Greatness. So I just want to start off by saying, well done, Halaletang, despite the technical glitches or issues that were experienced during your speech. I must commend you for being able to actually present your speech, because I know you were stopped, I think more than once. Most of the times when that happens to a person, we normally get frazzled and even forget where we stopped or are not even able to carry on. So I want to just say well done on continuing and being able to present the speech despite your technical challenges. I was able to hear your speech, so there were a few things that I noted in your speech that I thought you did well. I like the fact that when you started off, you talked about you had a nice phrase, the path to greatness is paved with passion, and you went in and talked about someone that we could all easily recognize, that is Usain Bolt. We all know the feats that he has been able to achieve. So that is something that is a way in terms of connecting with the audience that you're allowed with us, because you shared about someone famous that we all know. Then you went on and told us a story about yourself, how you were able to move from a D student to being one of the top students of your class. And we always say in Toastmasters, personal stories are always great because they help us to know you a little bit more and also to remember what you are speaking about. So I like the fact that you took us through your own personal story in terms of how you were able to achieve your own greatness. And that is something that I'm sure we could all relate to. And then the third part, so I like the way you structured your speech. So you had like now the third part of your speech where you then went on to just share some tidbits about the pathway to greatness, how even though we can have challenges or there are certain things we need to follow, you need to have, vision, faith, courage, those kinds of things. I liked that you shared that. And then in the end, you gave us a nice conclusion to wrap up everything that you said. So certain things that I noticed that you may want to work on. When you start your speech, you don't have to reintroduce yourself or your speech title. The Toastmaster has already done that. So once the Toastmaster has introduce your speech title, just get right into the speech. There's no need for you to reintroduce yourself. So I would encourage you, just get right into it. And then the second thing, as a way maybe just to challenge yourself, is that next time when you present your speech, I would encourage you maybe to give it in a standing position so that we'll be able to see maybe some gestures in your speech as a way just to elevate your presentation in your speech. Other than that, well done in presenting your speech today. Remember, don't reintroduce yourself or your speech title when you're starting. And next time try and incorporate some gestures and body movements in your speech. Looking forward to your next speech. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Leah, for that feedback. It was such a motivating feedback. I appreciate that your words were encouraging. You started off with good points and then you continued to share learning points or areas where the speaker could challenge themselves. And I also appreciate the fact that you were specific about those areas you mentioned of how they should, or how you suggested that they should give their speech standing up. I feel that's a very good way of giving feedback. At one point, I noticed that Cage had dropped out of the meeting. Did he manage to log in? Mr. Cage, are you back? Zoom Master, is Cage in the meeting room, or should we?
I see he's on the call, but I'm not too sure because, yeah, he seems to be having technical issues. Maybe we can go to the next person.
Cage? Okay, I thought I was hearing something. Okay. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, then I will move on to the next evaluation, which was done by yours truly, Lamem Teta. Benjamin Madikelo, well done on giving your speech this evening. You gave your first speech, you received your feedback, and you were expected to apply that feedback in this second speech. Just to note that I was not able to get your evaluation from your first speech, but I will give just a general evaluation of your speech. Let me go back to my notes. Okay. Benjamin, like I said, well done on giving a speech. A very interesting title for your speech, PMBOK. I believe that was an inviting, very interesting title for anybody who'd want to really hear what this PMBOK is all about. I also love the fact that you mentioned that there are 6 core values, but for this specific speech, you will only speak on 4 areas. Areas of improvement, Benjamin, your vocal variety. Variety, when you talk about vocal variety, we expect you to vary your tone, your speed, and your volume. At one point, I was really struggling to hear your speech. And for most of your speech, your voice was just monotonous. I would have loved to hear a variation where you were excited, because it really seemed like you were speaking on a topic that you're excited about. I would have really loved to hear that excitement from your voice by varying your tone, by varying your volume. Eye contact. I would want to suggest that next time you work on your lightning. I was also struggling to see you. And me not seeing you means I couldn't maintain any eye contact with you. As a speaker, or when you're giving a speech, it's very important to maintain eye contact with your audience. When you maintain that eye contact, you are able to engage with your audience. The audience is able to see you, and you're also able to see your audience. Also, at one point, it seemed like you were reading because it was dark, but it seemed like you were reading. And because you were reading, that sort of distracted, or it interfered with how you gave your speech. So I would challenge you that next time you practice your speech well in time, to avoid too much reading when you are giving your speech. Also, hand gestures to elevate your speech. Due to the reason of your room being dark, I struggled to see your hand gestures. And most of the time you were standing in one place and you didn't utilize your stage. I would have loved to see your hand gestures. I would have loved to see some sort of movement. Why are gestures important? They are important because they bring emphasis into your speech. They also enhance your speech. In conclusion, I'll say to you, maybe challenge yourself to give this speech again and provide the first feedback so that your evaluator will be able to see if you indeed applied the feedback you received from the first speech, because that was the main purpose of your speech. Over to you, General Evaluator. Is Case back?
I have an audio from him, so I will play the evaluation.
So you'll read the evaluation or you'll play the evaluation?
I will play the evaluation.
Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, for the very, very first time in Gaborone Toastmasters, we are going to listen to an audio evaluation. Is the evaluation ready, Leah?
Apologies. Let me just share my sound. Okay.
Today we are learning a lot, ladies and gentlemen. So I believe you're told to brace yourself by Madam President at the start of the meeting. Happening for the very, very first time. Are we ready to go?
Is this
Good evening,
audible?
Toastmaster Tapiwa Motsweneng. I unfortunately couldn't be doing this in person or live. I would have loved to, but I'm going to try and give this the best or do the most justice I can in the next 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So these were the objectives, or the main objective of your presentation was as follows. Really, I was looking out for 2 things. The first thing I was looking out for was exaggerated body movement and body gestures. Hashtag your body speaks. The second thing I was looking out for was your vocal variety, exaggerated use of different levels of your vocal variety. Why? Because in this project, the project itself is trying to really not only train you, but it's trying to challenge you to be aware of these aspects that you can use and that you can insert and that you can incorporate in your speeches and presentations moving forward. Right? So let's get started. I'll tell you something from the beginning. I loved how you started the speech, and I loved how you started the presentation, because from that instance, you gave us an opportunity for you and for us to experience you using your body, 1, 2, using the vocal variety. Now, for most people, unlike myself, who've been on a flight, I know we've seen it on television when the flight attendant stands in front of everyone and there's a voice that comes out as like a VOG and it says, "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to flight 101. The captain wishes you," all those things. That was your first opportunity to use vocal variety, for you to take upon someone else's voice that resonates with something that we are very much attuned to. So this is where I felt that maybe perhaps in that moment you might have missed out on an opportunity, because you see, for the people that have gone on a flight, they would have connected immediately and instantly to the use of that voice. The second thing that I loved that you did was you told a story. Now, let me tell you something about stories. Is for the people that have been in flights, I can attest and I can tell you now that you all haven't been on the same flight. So when you tell a story then connects with everyone else's story and everyone has experience, and it becomes personal. It's a lovely use of a story on that. What did I expect and what did I like to see and what didn't I see? I would have loved to see your body movement. Your hands were clasped for 80% of the speech, which really spoke differently from what the objective was. I would have loved for you to show me around when you talked about moments of, you looked around the scene and you you talked about being thrilled and excited, and yet your hands were clasped. That was for us, for an opportunity for you to show your hands and to show your face and to show your voice that you were indeed thrilled and you were indeed excited.
All right. What it also did is I think that perhaps another thing that worked against you was a camera angle. It's important for you to try and establish a camera angle that is level with your eyes, so you do not speak down on us or down to us, but you sort of speak to us. That allows us also to appreciate your body gestures. I don't have the whole day, but I think that you have absolutely great potential. I would really like to encourage you to, one, really work on your practicing your speech beforehand, because at times it looked like you were reading at some points. I wasn't really sure. But other than that, the story was fantastic. I think that you set the scene really well. You did challenge yourself by the scene and the story you told. And I think that you could do better to challenge yourself to really bring out that body expression and body language, and to really take out that vocal variety. I can't wait to listen to more speeches, and I challenge you to keep challenging yourself in this aspect, and you will soar the sky.
Is that a Toastmaster?
Yes, that's the end.
Okay. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Leah. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had our feedbacks from our different evaluators. I'll be now moving on to my general evaluation. As the general evaluator, I had cited that I will provide an evaluation for the whole meeting at the end of the meeting. Gaborone Toastmasters Club, I believe you deserve a round of applause for hosting such an amazing meeting. You never cease to amaze me. And I believe a lot of people can attest to that who are present in this meeting. One thing that I love is that the agenda was shared well in time. The Zoom room was open well in time. I was here. Speakers had the opportunity to test their camera position, to test their sounds. That is a job well done. VPE was here to welcome visitors. Role players were renamed, so whoever was the Zoom master, I believe they didn't struggle to spotlight the different speakers. The agenda was shared in the chat box for the appreciation of everyone who is part of this meeting. Toastmaster of the Day, you were such a great captain. I loved your ability to inspire not only Toastmasters, but also inspire the other guests. And how did you do that, Toastmaster Mzamo? With every opportunity you had, you emphasized the importance of how Toastmasters is benefiting all of us. So for someone who is new or who is their first time to be in this meeting, they got the education or even the understanding they need of exactly what happens in a Toastmasters meeting. You kept us engaged with your energy, with your jokes, with your smile, even though your smile doesn't beat my smile, but you tried your best. Well done on that. I also love your decisiveness. At one point, we were short of an evaluator, and you brought up a quick solution, making sure that we don't lose time by trying to find an evaluator for that speaker. And not only did you step in, did you only suggest that, you also stepped in to provide feedback for that speaker. Point of growth for you, Toastmaster of the Day. Not everyone is familiar with the Toastmaster meeting setup. I would have loved for you to share the structure of our meeting, just to make our visitors, to make our guests aware that our meeting is structured in 3 parts. We're going to have the prepared speeches, then we'll have the better listening, where we're getting evaluations, just to benefit our guests. And lastly, Toastmaster of the Day, Mzamo, you owe us a box of chocolates for butchering our names. So next time you come, make sure you come with a box of chocolate for butchering our names. I would also want to applaud our toaster, Toastmaster Leah. Wow, what a toast you gave. You shared your experience of being a Toastmaster. You shared how you have benefited from being a Toastmaster. You shared of how you used to create posters from PowerPoint. Now you have moved to Canva. I appreciate that. I believe that was also a way of sharing the benefits of Toastmasters. And I believe when we come to a meeting like this one, we need to see that value. We need to experience it. And the only way we can experience it is when we have different speakers sharing how Toastmasters has benefited them. Otherwise, it was a good organized meeting. I enjoyed it. I believe everybody loved it. We had a good variety of speakers. Indeed, it was a speaker-thon. We had level 1s, project 4, project 2. And lastly, I know we always say Toastmasters wears many hats, but I believe every time we do that, because we are multitasking, we're not able to enjoy the full capacity of someone taking up one role. So I believe that's a learning point for us, that next time we ensure that we have all role players filled to avoid one person taking up 4 roles. Other than that, well done, Gaborone Toastmasters. You deserve a round of applause. And for the very, very first time, we had an evaluator giving an audio evaluation. Indeed, you will never cease to amaze us. I guess then it's time to call on to our timer. I believe we have time. Leah, maybe post the time in the chat box for the interest of time. You can just share the time. Leah?
I will do so.
Okay. I guess that means that brings us to the end of our meeting. I'll be handing over to our president to give us the closing remarks and tell us how there was a voters poll somewhere during the meeting, and there's someone who thinks they have won something. That is Toastmaster Mzamo. So let's see if indeed things went according to his way. Other than that, thank you very much for everyone who attended this meeting. Over to you, Madam President.
Thank you so much, Madam General Evaluator, for that wonderful feedback. We always appreciate it here at Gaborone Toastmasters because we do want to be better than we are. And with that said, Zoom Master, are you ready? We had awards and recognitions tonight. Please let the winners know.
All right. So we didn't run the poll for best evaluator. It's fine. We're running out of time. So we'll move right into best table topics because we ran that's a drum roll. And our best table topics, it was very, very, very close, is none other than Zamo. 1 point different.
Told you so.
There was just 1 point difference. And then our best effort speaker of the night is Asala Pili. Well done, Asala Pili. Well done, well done. And we always want to thank people who assist us. So thank you, Indila. It's a certificate of appreciation for coming to take on a role of a speaker. Thank you, Kate, with the audio evaluation. And of course, thank you for our Toastmaster of the day, Mzamo. And maybe just to recognize, we have a new member who's joining us, giving icebreaker speech next week, was our counter today, Unkameti. Welcome to Gaborone Toastmasters. Looking forward to icebreaker speech next week.
Thank you so much, Zoom Master, for that. I was about to announce our new member, but as you've seen, we have a new member, Unkemeti Mulongwe, who was our counter tonight. Welcome to our family. And other announcements include our renewals are still on. So please renew before the end of March to avoid being disconnected from our educational platform, which is where we have access to our projects and our level information, everything. So please do pay up. The club is self-pay enabled, meaning you can pay without having to involve the treasurer in any bank transfers. But if you do need help, reach out. And I'd advise that guests remain before I do the closing, but can we take 2 seconds and take a screenshot for our thumbnail? We have a YouTube page. If you haven't already followed us on YouTube, please do follow us. We upload our speeches, we share these live on YouTube. So while you're at it, please do follow, switch on your cameras and let us take a picture for our thumbnail. Toastmaster of the day, please switch on your camera.
I forgot to also switch on mine. Okay, I still see some cameras which are off, but maybe not to delay people. I'm going to take also with nice big, okay, some cameras are going on. All right, everyone say Toastmasters.
Toastmasters, yay!
Yes, thank you so much, Leah. Are you done?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, guests, please stay behind and have a chat with me. But without further ado, I'd like to close our meeting. What a night of learning and inspiration. This meeting has been a true reflection of what it means to embrace lifelong learning, challenging ourselves, supporting one another, and stepping boldly into new opportunities for growth. Whether you delivered a speech, took on a role, or simply absorbed the wisdom shared tonight, you have taken another step forward in your journey of continuous improvement. As we leave here, let's remember that learning doesn't end when the meeting does. Take what you've learned tonight, apply it to your daily life, and keep seeking opportunities to grow. Because when we commit to lifelong learning, we commit to lifelong success. Thank you for being a part of this journey and see you at our next meeting. Thank you very much. Our next meeting is next Tuesday, still as part of our Level Up month. So see you next Tuesday, the 25th of March. Good night.